Call the April 1st, 2025 Williams County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. Beth, roll call, please.
Barry,
Here.
Steve,
Here.
Bo,
Here.
Chris,
Here. We have a quorum. We'll proceed. If everybody would please stand for the pledge. For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item C, the consent agenda. What are the wishes?
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the consent agenda as presented today.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? No discussion? Roll call, please.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes. Motion carried. Item D is public comment. This is the spot on the agenda that's open for public comment if it's something that's not on the agenda. So if anybody has anything that's not currently on the agenda, this is the time to come up to the mic. I don't see anybody racing for the microphone, so we will go into planning and zoning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michelle Helgen with County Planning. First item we have today is LU-0100-24, which is Matt with Apex Clean Energy on behalf of Homestead Wind LLC and Kurt Andre. They're requesting a conditional use permit to construct a temporary meteorological tower on the subject property. This is located in the south half of the northwest, Government Lot 1, which is the northeast-northeast, Government Lot 2, which is the northwest-northeast, all of Section 4, Township 157 North, Range 102 West. On this particular one, it is Bone Trail Township, and we did send out comment packets via USPS to the township officers and did not receive any comment back from them. So the applicant is requesting the conditional use permit to construct an approximately 60-meter tall meteorological tower in the northeast corner of the subject property. Property is currently within the agricultural zoning district. Tower will be secured by multiple guy wires that will be looped through an anchor, then secured with 3 wire rope clips. The purpose of this tower is to provide wind characteristic data to the applicant to be studied for future potential wind energy growth within the area. The applicant has a current signed lease agreement with a landowner that is a 5-year term with options to extend if more data is needed. The tower will be placed approximately 285 feet from the outside parcel boundary lines. These towers are meant to be temporary in nature to gather information. Once the tower is no longer in use, it will be decommissioned. Access to the subject property is taken off of 72nd Street Northwest. On March 20th, 2025, the Planning and Zoning Commission did hear this item and recommended approval with a vote of 4-1-1. With the following conditions: construction on the tower must begin within 18 months of approval, obtain all necessary building permits through the Williams County Building Division, and adhere to the Williams County zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations.
Okay, is the applicant present?
They are, yes.
Do you have anything to add? Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Matt Eberl with Apex Clean Energy, representing Homestead Wind. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk with y'all. I am the lead developer for the Homestead Wind project, which has been ongoing in development for several years. Initially, we already have 2 Met towers out in Williams County. These Met towers are exactly the same in every feature as those. They are temporary. There's no utilities associated with these of any sort. We've already submitted for building permits to have them installed, so upon approval and getting the building permits, we'll be looking to install them in the next few weeks here to start generating data. So if there's any additional questions on the nature of the Met towers, I'd be happy to answer those.
Does anybody have any questions?
How long are those towers typically in use?
These will be up until we start construction, and we'll be coming back to the county here later in the year to submit our application for that CUP. If all goes as planned, we would start construction in 2027. And then these towers would be taken down.
How many megawatts total is the project to be?
Project itself is 255 megawatts.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Bo.
So I see in the lease that the terms are 5 years, but then it looks like there's an option to extend for 3, extend for an additional 2, and then extend for an additional 30 years, and extend for an additional 20 years. So is the intention of these towers to be in place for 58 years?
No, sir. The lease you're looking at is for the wind farm itself, which includes a subset for our permission from the landowners to use a Met tower. The lease terms, the initial 7 years are for development, which is what we're in now. The first 30-year term is for the operation of the wind farm itself after it's constructed. Then there are 2 additional 10-year options on top of that. So the total lease is 57 years, including 7 for development, then the 30, then plus 20 additional in operations. Again, once we begin construction and operations, the Met towers come down.
Bo, did that answer your question?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wants to talk on this specific one? No? Okay, we will turn it over to the board. What are the wishes?
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the conditional use permit LU-0100-24.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Discussion. Roll call, Beth.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, so the second item we have today is LU-0101-24. Again, Matt with Apex Clean Energy on behalf of Homestead Wind LLC and Marlis Hoff. They are requesting the conditional use permit to construct the temporary meteorological tower on this subject property. This is located in the northeast of Section 27, Township 157 North, Range 103 West, which is Strandell Township. Our office did not receive comment back from Strandell Township on this project. However, it was discovered that the email address we had on file to send information was incorrect, and all packets had been going to a gentleman in Texas. And by the time we realized that, it was almost meeting day. The applicant is requesting the conditional use permit to construct an approximately 60-meter tall meteorological tower in the northeast corner of this subject property. It is in the agricultural zoning district. Like the previous one, the tower will be secured by multiple guy wires that will be looped through an anchor eye, then secured with 3 wire rope clips. Purpose of this tower is to provide wind characteristic data like the previous one. The tower will be placed approximately 285 feet from the outside parcel boundaries. For this particular one, the tower location is taken off of 68th Street Northwest. When Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item on March 20th, they did recommend approval 3 to 2 to 1. Abstained.
Okay, do you have anything to add to this one?
Just a couple of quick notes that I didn't mention before. We purposely set these in the fields 1.1, a minimum of 1.1 from the tip height away from any roads or structures, but also with the intent to keep them out of the fields to minimize impact on farming. And just to clarify, there are no mechanical parts to a Met Tower. They don't make any sound. Just wanted to clarify that part.
1.1 what?
Sorry, times the tip height. So these are
Gotcha.
197 feet, 197 feet plus 19.7 feet of a minimum.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments for this one? If there are, please come up, state your name.
Good morning, Robert Arnston, Chairman of Strandell Township. We have a 1 mile setback in our township for an ordinance for mid towers or wind turbines. This particular tower is going to be a half a mile from an occupied residence. I did talk to Matt this morning, and he is willing to work with us to try to move this Met Tower away from a occupied residence and respect the ordinance the township has made for the 1 mile setback. So if they're willing to work with the township on this, we're willing to work with them. So I had a whole bunch more to say to you guys today, but meeting with Matt this morning, we've kind of come to a agreement already on this Met Tower to keep it 1 mile away from occupied residents. And there's only 8 residents that live in Strandell Township. So there should be other places to put these things in, instead of right in front of your picture window. So I hope the board takes this into consideration, that with the ordinance that the township has set.
Perfect, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Bo here.
Yep,
Just a question. I was kind of wondering if we could place number 8 condition on this, that these structures need to be at least 5,200 feet from a residence to respect their setbacks for the township.
you mean you wanted to put that under the recommendations from planning and zoning? Because number 8 would be under regulations. So you want number 4 to say that? Boy, I see Robert's got something else here too.
Well, I guess this problem isn't resolved. Matt just informed me now that the mile setback is for the wind turbines, not for the Met Tower. This township has set for the Met Tower and the wind turbines, so we still have an issue. And I hope the board can respect the township's ordinance to keep these a mile away.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Bo, did you hear my question to you?
Yeah, sorry, I hit my mute button again, but yes, so it'd be number 4 would be a 5,280 foot setback from residents in respect to the township's wishes.
Well, I would agree. I mean, they're the ones that are gonna have to live around them, so I would agree with Bo to that. I guess if that was a motion, Bo, or
Was that a motion, Bo? And then how are you doing that?
Well, yeah, I get to, if you want to discuss it, but I would make a motion to approve this conditional use permit with adding a 4th condition of 1 mile setback for all towers in respect to the township's wishes.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Discussion.
is this gonna be a kind of a standard then for, because the other 2 are different townships, or do we know offhand what, do they have township ordinances stating?
We're not sure of that. The townships could certainly have their own ordinances, but it is important to keep in mind that the county administers their zoning. So any conditions this board can certainly add if they want to follow along with what the township does. But I just wanted to point out that we're not bound by any township ordinances if we administer their zoning. The other question that we did have before a motion was made, if this were to be moved significantly enough, it would change how we have to notify a 1 mile radius for residents and go through the process again.
Well, I'm betting if there's only that many people in the township, especially in Strandall anyway, it probably wouldn't affect a whole lot.
More than likely, it wouldn't. However, it's landowners that we have to notify. So even though there may not be an occupant, it could be different landowners, and then we have to advertise in the paper if the move would be significant enough to change that 1 mile radius.
Is there an option for us to, is there a way to satisfy the township's request to have it not be close enough to a resident, or if that resident was okay with wherever it gets placed? Is there a way to do this without having them start all over?
Well, it doesn't sound like it, because I think we'll have to probably do a different motion, because from the sounds of it, we can't approve this with a 1 mile setback, because we're gonna have to start over from square one on this one. And no, I don't think it's a blanket one, Barry, in my opinion, because we already approved the last one. So I think it would be for this one, but if we can't approve this motion as it's set. If they've got to redo everything, we can't approve it and say, but we're gonna add this, because it changes the way it's done through planning and zoning, correct?
Yeah, because it could possibly change the location, and that's where it would trigger the re-notification and restart the hearing process.
Well, do we know who this quarter that it was going to set on, do we know who owns the quarter to the north? Is it the same landowner?
Okay, so I guess what needs to be done is we're gonna have to, you're either gonna have to pull this motion back, Bo, and make it a different way, or we're gonna have to vote on it, and we have to vote it down, because we cannot approve it this way. So, Bo, what do you want to do? Do you want to pull it back?
Well, so because they have to change the location because it's greater than, they need to be greater than a mile from that residence?
According to your motion, yes. And if that's the case, we have to
Well-
start over, because it changes the site of where it's going, and then they have to go through the whole process again.
Well, I guess I stand by my motion. I mean, if that's the process they have to go to, then that's the way it is.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is we can't vote yes on this motion, because we can't approve it the way you made the motion. If we approve it, it means we're going against planning and zoning completely. So we have to vote no on your motion if you're gonna make us vote on it. And we can, that's fine. But I just want you to know what we have to do. Because the way the motion is, it approves with the addition of moving it a mile, which moves the site. So that changes
Yeah.
what the CUP is gonna have to say. And then we have to notify other people with where it gets moved to.
Okay, so I guess, yeah, then, I can make a motion to retract this motion. And so then the motion needs to be denied a conditional use permit because they're in violation of a 1 mile setback.
I'm gonna have Karen come up and help us out on what we need to do. I think you can just pull your motion back. Karen, is that not true?
Well, unfortunately, because Beth said that there was a motion and a second on the motion, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to, you're just gonna have to vote on it really, so.
All right. Do we have any other discussion on this one? Beth, roll call.
Corey,
No.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
No.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve.
No.
Motion failed. Well, at least that was exciting. I kept waiting for somebody to say April Fools. Sorry. All right, let's try it again, Bo. Would you like to make a motion?
May I-
Yeah, I guess I would make a motion to deny the conditional use permit for, LU dash 0101 dash 24.
Is there a second?
I would second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Do we have any feedback from the landowner that would be looking at this Met Tower?
There is a letter in the packet from the people who live the closest.
Hello, Matt again with Apex. On behalf of the landowner of the Hoffs, they are elderly and live out of town. I would just like to say, when this went through planning and zoning, we didn't know about the mile setback. It's not something that was in the county, so we didn't look to apply that. If there's a way, instead of denying this here and starting over again with planning and zoning and building permits, that we could have a condition that we seek to move it a mile away from any non-participating homes, and then if that requires further contact of other houses, but if we stay outside of that, is there a way to do that?
No, that was the whole discussion before. There's really not, if the site gets changed. And to go a mile, you're gonna probably be in another section too. So then other people have to
Yeah.
get notified.
Yeah, it would be further west. Okay,
Right,
thank you.
sorry. Okay, any other discussion? So Beth, tell me what the motion is.
To deny the CUP for LU 0101-24.
Okay, no further discussion? Roll call.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
No.
Corey,
Yes. Motion carried.
Okay, so the last one we have today is LU-0102-24. Again, Matt with Apex Clean Energy on behalf of Homestead Wind LLC and BCD Farms, Inc. They're requesting a conditional use permit to construct a temporary meteorological tower on the subject property. This particular one is the southwest of Section 16, Township 156 North, Range 103 West, which is Bull Butte Township, and they did recommend approval on this project. Like the others, this will be to construct the approximately 60-meter tall meteorological tower. This one will be in the southwest corner of the subject property. The property is within that agricultural zoning district, and it will be secured by multiple guy wires that will be looped through the anchor eye and then secured with 3 wire rope clips. The tower, like the others, will be placed approximately 285 feet from the outside parcel boundary lines. And the towers are meant to be temporary in nature to gather information only. Access to this particular project is off of 151st Avenue Northwest, which is also known as County Road 5. On this particular one, on March 20th, when Planning and Zoning Commission did hear the item, it was recommended approval with a vote of 5-0 with 1 abstaining.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add to this one? No, you're good. Is there any other folks that want to speak to it? None? Okay, what are the wishes?
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve this conditional use permit for LU-0102-24.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Discussion? Roll call, Beth.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, Michelle. All right, that brings us to the department heads. Lindsay, you're up.
Good morning. All right, so today I have for you a draft concept for a housing incentive program. Over the past 2, maybe 3 years, working through a variety of different departments and with Commissioner Kemp on better understanding our housing situation in Williams County and working on coming up with some sort of incentive or encouragement overall to increase the inventory of housing in the county. As you're already aware, we have several projects that have been announced looking to come in, and we continually seek affordable housing for a variety of our residents and anything we can do to help attract nurses, teachers, service workers, etc. So what I've included in your packet, again, is a draft concept. So the intention of today is to present this information to you and kind of get a go, no-go that this is the right direction to head. And then would work over the next couple of weeks with Karen and a couple different departments to solidify the application, the process, and details. Overall, again, the goal would be to increase the inventory of single-family housing from both a buyer and a builder perspective. And so with both that buyer and builder side, there's an element of property tax exemptions that a commission can implement via resolution, and then a financial assistance program that would essentially be run more or less like our grant programs. On the property tax exemption element, again, for a builder and a buyer. On the builder side, by resolution, a commission can allow for no structural assessment for the taxable year that a construction begins. And a recommendation would be to do an exemption of $150,000 true and full, which is the same that can be applied on a buyer's side. And again, this is just for new construction. And these would be on properties in the county outside of any incorporated city jurisdiction. The city of Williston already actually implements the property tax exemption on the buyer side. And then it would be up to our other cities if they wanted to implement something similar. And then again, on the buyer side, it'd be up to $150,000 true and full exemption for the first 2 taxable years after the taxable year that the construction is completed. So it's really intended to be able to provide a little bit of property tax relief on the beginning years of that home or on the builder side while that structure is under construction. There's only a handful of places that I was able to find that implement that builder side, and it's by no means a silver bullet for encouraging builders to come, but kind of pieces and parts together is really how a full incentive would be built. And then you can, as a commission, could certainly choose to do a builder or the buyer or both. And then you're able to choose within that, again, that the amount and the length of time. The resolution itself can also be chosen to be temporary. You could do it for a year, you could do it for 2 years, you could do it for 10. You're able to choose how long that you want to do that part. And then it would be run through the assessor's office, just like any other exemption or credit.
So a newly built home could actually have tax exempt for 4 years then, right? According to what we have written here, 2 to the builder and 2 to the buyer if the stars lined up.
Yep, they could be combined.
And then what kind of dollars are you talking about that people would get?
So if you do it as 150 off the true and full, that comes off right off the top of the assessment. So that's before then taxes are calculated, and essentially taxes are calculated on a lower amount. And also just a reminder, land is always taxable. Land is not exempt from part of it. It's just off the structure part. So you would still, property taxes will still be paid in full on the land and then collected. So for example, if we're looking at a new construction home, or the 150 true and full would equate to about $1,000 in property tax savings off their bill, depending on, again, the amount of their home, but mill-wise, it equates to about $1,000 in our townships. So again, because this is outside of any city limit.
Okay, anybody else got questions for Lindsay?
Ms. Harriman, how did you compile all the information you presented to us today? Did you have other places that you went to that are doing something similar, research, or just how did you arrive at putting all of this together?
Sure. So I'm a member of the Vision West Housing Committee. Vision West is a consortium of cities, counties, organizations across western North Dakota. And we formed a housing committee a couple years ago to start putting together incentives to see what others are doing. And so largely based on what has worked, what hasn't worked, how people have tweaked it. On the property tax exemption side, again, it's something that the city of Williston implements for new constructions today. And that's something that Commissioner Kemp had brought along from his role and working with housing on the city as well. And so that would be something of kind of making it, I don't know if equal is the right word, but in terms of something that is offered a little bit more seamless between city limits where the ETJ is and where the county is. And then on the financial assistance side, you know, the angle that we've chosen to focus for financial assistance is on infrastructure and then closing costs and interest buy down. So the affordability of actually choosing that home. There's a couple other counties that have down systems of payment programs, which we've looked at as well. And in terms of the amount of dollars that would be suggested to start out with this, it might not actually, this would seem the best way to be able to balance, again, the builder and the buyer, because it really takes both to increase the actual inventory for it. And like McKenzie County has gone through a series of different programs. We are a unique community too, in which that we've grown very quickly. We do have shovel-ready lots that are available in the city, in the county, in Tioga and Ray. City of Ray is actually doing quite a bit to try to get some lots moving in the city there as well. So working through private sector, public sector, bankers, lenders, we actually did a housing forum at the end of 2023 where we brought bankers, realtors, builders together both in Williston and Tioga to kind of talk through how things are, and then kept those conversations up. And again, any housing incentive program is not going to be a silver bullet and be magical overnight. Even with talking with the Housing Finance Agency quite a bit in terms of programs, you have to try something and then tweak it as you go, see how your community responds. And then there's also risk involved, you know, to some extent, because you're providing an investment in something that is you know, kind of an unknown territory sometimes.
So when you said it's available to the county, you know, not inside the cities, would this still qualify if they were to build inside the ETJ then?
So for the property tax exemption portion, the authority through Century Code is provided to cities and counties by resolution to do it. So that's why it would be within the county outside any incorporated city jurisdiction. So the ETJ homes actually fall into, ooh, we talked about that the other day. The ETJ homes would actually fall into the county's jurisdiction. Yep. So that's also part in terms of where well, building is happening in quite a few different places. But yes, the ETJ homes would fall into the county jurisdiction. And then on the
Yeah, before you get there,
Yeah.
how is this affected legislatively, the way with them going through the property tax decrease, what looks like it's going to come out of the legislature? How does that affect this?
So it's a good question. Technically, the way that the application cycle would work for the property tax exemption, again, it happens right when the assessment is happening. And it's just on the structure portion again. So it really depends on how far along they are in construction, because ultimately what this would do is it wouldn't decrease a political subdivision's taxable valuation because the value wasn't there to begin with, because it's new construction. And so it would just essentially, it would hold the taxable valuation at a lower level for however many years it's applied. But the important thing to keep in mind again is it only applies to new construction. And so it would have a small impact based on the number of homes that would be eligible, and then that would likely apply. So again, right now in the city of Williston, they offer the buyer part of it, but there are only 2 homes applied this year. And so in terms of the size of taxable valuation that would potentially be kept at a reduced level because of it is almost inconsequential based on the total taxable valuation of any entity.
So
And
could
then-
somebody go to zero if the legislature says we're going to go lower on property tax, and then we give this 150 a decrease of 150 true and full? Could they be not paying property tax?
No, because they still have to pay property tax on the land, so the land remains taxable. This is just on the structure part. And based on most of the conversation with the property tax bills right now, which are none of have been finalized, the cap on increasing your requested levy is not including any new growth. So new growth would still be calculated separately, and then any amount that would still be added to the assessment value. And Leah, like, hit me if I'm wrong here at some point. Anything that would be added to the assessment value would actually be still counted as new growth. So it would be a sort of separate calculation category.
They've also talked in some of those legislatives that they're going to cap the percentage off at 75%. So you'd still have that 25% of either the land or part of the structure that would still be assessed and still be taxed.
Yeah, that was their latest.
That's the latest.
Yeah,
And who knows, we have a long ways to go on that.
we do have a long way
So,
to go.
just wanted to ask, I wanted
Yeah.
us to talk about it.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Don't be as mean to Lindsay as I was if you have questions.
Okay. So I'll talk about the financial assistance side.
Well, one quick
Oh,
comment
yeah.
on the ordinance side, or the tax abatement. One of the goals was to have it countywide, and the cities, the incorporated cities, have the option to do this themselves, right? And so it's up to them to do it if they so choose. But it would be awesome if everywhere in Williams County you could get this, and I don't know what kind of encouragement we can give the cities to do this. It's available to them, and it just decreases the tax burden on their citizens, so.
I guess we'd have to do it first.
That's true.
Mr. Chairman, would this also include manufactured homes, trailer houses? What are the thoughts?
So the way that it's written is for single-family residential property, including condominiums and townhomes. On both sides of the program, there are caveats written about modular or other off-site constructed homes, of which the year that construction began or the year that construction was completed hinges on the date that the foundation was completed. And so that would be kind of in the broad terms of how it's actually implemented. Really the choices for you all are the dollar amount and the how long part. And then it actually even says in there, once the resolution is passed, you don't necessarily have discretion on who gets it and who doesn't, because it's the broad of the program, similar to any other creditor exemption where there's rules. As long as you meet the rules, then you qualify. But there is language that is related to modular and other off-site. Nothing specifically says manufactured. So that's still something I'd have to iterate with Karen on things like that. But okay, financial assistance side. So financial assistance side, there would be a recommended 1.3 million out of the Crew Housing funds to be able to apply for these housing incentives. Crew Housing funds are collected from housing, or workforce housing, so then putting it back into the housing part. Again, with a focus on infrastructure, and then also being able to close a deal on actually purchasing a home. And there's 3 different parts of this. So from both a builder and a buyer perspective, up to $5,000 would be recommended for utility hookups. So that's rural water, city sewer, for connecting to those services, whether they're public infrastructure or that co-op infrastructure, ensuring that those fees are covered. And then on the buyer side, it'd be up to $25,000 per newly constructed residence to assist with that final last mile of infrastructure. So the sidewalk, the curb and gutter, connect the lineage from main lines to the house for electric, sewer, or water, and then anything, again, related to septic or sewer system installation. Just, again, trying to provide some sort of financial coverage of things that are expensive, but not necessarily the fun things that people like to pay for when they're building a house, but they're necessary, and they typically have some sort of impact on public infrastructure as well. So again, putting those public dollars back into the public infrastructure. And then on the buyer side, up to $15,000 towards either closing costs and or interest buy-down points, again, for that affordability of the payment, and being able to close that deal. For both the buyer and the builder side of things, there would be a recommended sales price limit of no more than the current FHA mortgage loan limit plus 10%, to be able to keep this, again, still in the how much people are charging for new construction homes, but also in that affordability. Today, the FHA limit plus 10% is about $576,000. And really that's where we are these days in terms of getting a 3 or 4 bedroom home with an unfinished basement. So yeah, any questions on that side?
So what are you looking for, Lindsay? Just the, yeah, we think this is a good idea, shake our heads, or, I mean, because we're not ready to approve any of this.
So today I'm seeking approval for the concept of it and as it's laid out with some of these details. And especially if you're looking to pursue the builder and or the buyer property tax exemption, finalizing the components of that so that I can work with Karen for the resolution part of that. And then also the application process. We're at the beginning of April. Construction season may or may not be around the corner based on the snow forecast. And then on the financial assistance side, if you're good with the dollar amounts and the parameters and the sales limits, then we can work on finalizing program details. And again, that application process.
She did include a sample motion at the bottom of the.
It was broad. I don't know if that was helpful. But I will say, if you're interested in the builder and buyer, I would need to know if you're good with the recommendation on the builder side of the annual application, the $150,000 true and full exemption, same on the buyer, but then also for how long you want the program to initially run before renewal. Like if you want to renew it each year or every 2 years or something like that.
Just my only concern on this thing, because I think there's some great things in here, and if we can help out, I still have a little bit of trouble with the builder side, because if I knew that was going to help bring the price down, it's easy, but it's not like that's not a make or break for me. I just have to say that out loud. That's my concern, is helping on the builder side. I mean, we want this money to help everybody and also to bring the prices down a little bit. Because that number you just said, that's not a real extravagant home. And we're talking over $500,000. That's a lot of money. So and I know it's not a huge amount, but again, I had to say it out loud, and I'm sure Steve knew I was going to say it out loud. So, any other comments?
I want to thank Ms. Harriman. Steve, thank you so much for putting time into this. I think it's a brilliant start to where we need to be. There's undoubtedly a great housing need in Williams County, so thank you for the efforts given.
I think one of the things that Lindsay said was so important, and that's that we may have to tweak this as we go along, and for the very reason that you just said, if we're finding that builders are taking advantage of the program and then just marking up their housing costs and taking advantage of that extra opportunity, then we modify it to try to remove that ability from them or eliminate their incentive altogether. So I think that the ball's in our court, and should anybody decide to take advantage of it, they can be removed from the list of the approved builders, and we have lots of different options. And so I think Lindsay's really put a lot of thought into this, and I appreciate that hard work.
Yeah, I would agree. There's been a lot of thought put into it, but my biggest concern is, even with the best of intentions, once you set your finger on the scale of free market, it's not free market no more. But I do agree, there's a $500,000 home or $500,000 for a 3-bedroom home with an unfinished basement is astronomical. But here we are.
The biggest thing we hear from builders, the only thing they even really help with necessarily, I won't say the only thing, a big thing that would even help with the cost is being able to buy more materials at one time, meaning they're building more houses at one time. Some of them are really strapped by lending power in terms of lending climate is difficult. We can't fix that. That's there's been some attempts through the legislature. There is a bill that's still alive for being able to do matching grants for infrastructure that may help on the cost buy down of that piece. But until they are having the ability to build more and more at the same time and being able to buy more materials, the price is going to be stuck because we're still at the end of the supply chain. And we don't have trees, so we can't start a lumber industry. So I've been told.
it'd be a pretty short run in this neck of the woods.
We built dog houses maybe, I don't know. But.
Yeah.
Okay, let's focus back. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll move to approve the concept of Williams County Builder Buyer Program as proposed and proceed with developing the full program details.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Beth.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes,
Bo,
I believe he fell off the call.
Chris,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks for the work, Lindsay. Appreciate it. Is there any other department heads we need to talk to before we go on? We didn't miss anybody? All right, Helen, come on down.
Good morning. All right, we have a couple of things for you. So the position report, you see we have positions that we're looking to fill. An equipment operator, truck driver at County Highway. County building official, we have a retirement coming out of the Development Services Department. Corrections officer. And then just an item for discussion. The state of North Dakota has a program that is intended to help counties to fill positions in state's attorney's offices that serve the human service zone element of the state's attorney's office obligation. And they have targeted Western North Dakota for rolling out some of that program first. And so this request is to fill an assistant state's attorney position that would be funded, pay and benefits would be funded half through the state of North Dakota money. I think it's actually federal money, so we'll see really how long it's in place. We did recently fill an assistant state's attorney position, and so I would tell you we'll start to advertise this, but we are going to try and get ourselves through the training process with our new hire before we fill this. So it's a bit of a long game that we're playing here, but it would be half funded, at least some of those pieces, through these grant dollars. If it works, I think we would want to commit to funding the position wholly in future years. One, because it's hard to hire someone if we say your position is a maybe in future years. And we're confident that this will help with some of the caseload burden. And you all were here, I think it was yet this year, Chris, wasn't it, when Jacan was here, talking about their caseload. And so if the work specific to the human service zone case pieces could be covered by another attorney, it would certainly help overall case counts.
Well, and I think this was one of the things we talked about. Add one if we could, and now you've found a grant to pay for half of it, even if it's for a year or two. We'd be crazy not to. If we can find somebody, let's get them in there to help these folks out because they are just buried over there.
Yep. So 3, just, normal, and then this one, which is a new position to be funded partially by some other dollars.
Okay, what are the wishes, gentlemen?
I would make a motion to approve the new hires.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, Beth.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Motion carried.
So the chairman and I have been having some conversation. I was looking at you, wondering if you were going to say something.
You go right ahead.
The chairman and I have been talking through a few things, and one of those is just a little bit wanting to be transparent and not maybe have so many things on a consent agenda, and yet on the other hand, not one by one item reading things off a list. And so you're going to see that we're going to start some experimenting a little bit, coordinating with Beth. We're going to pull some things off the consent agenda. I'll include them as a part of a county administrator report. We're going to find our way to to a middle ground, I think is your goal, isn't it? So, for sure, we're gonna pull contracts and agreements, those kinds of things, the county administrator, there'll be some blanket explanations and some detailed explanations, but they're just gonna move where we have them on the agenda. So today we have in hand a Bronco Brothers contract for the 42 and 11A project that you approved at your last meeting. They provide these to us by paper, and so I don't think that you have one attached to your agenda because they give them to us in bound fancy documents. So we are looking for, yes, there it is, very fancy. But before you make a motion, we know that Mayo Brothers contracts for 17A and 11 are in the mail, headed our way, but we haven't gotten them. And so if it's agreeable to you, we'd actually like approval for the chairman to sign the one we have in hand today and the two that we know are on their way. Of course, these are, they're quite routine. And so I talked with Karen, she's fine with us proceeding in this way. Dennis did say if you were uncomfortable with this, we could wait and sign those Mayo agreements once they get here. But again, we don't anticipate that there's anything about them that would be other than procedural at the next meeting.
Any questions? I mean, we basically approved these last meeting anyway, and now it's just saying that the chairman can sign. So after the great bids we got, I think the sooner we get all of them signed, and if the snow misses and it gets nice out, they can start moving equipment and we can start fixing roads. So we need a motion to make that happen.
I would make a motion for the project 21-2-20A/24-2-20 for the chairman to sign.
And the one for,
But I don't, yeah, and that one too, but I don't know what the
how about we just say 17?
17A?
Is that right, Dennis?
And 11.
17 and 11.
Yes.
Okay, Beth, you got all that? Clear as mud? All right, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Corey,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Just one other update for you. Commissioner Hanson and I did meet with the Upper Missouri Valley Fair Association Board last night. And although we had given that we have talked about purchasing that property and using it as part of our community enhancement projects. And so we did go there to meet with them to discuss the details of that offer last night. And we're hopeful that in the next 30 days, we'll have some kind of a yes, no.
Perfect. Thank you, Helen. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Item H, we are adjourned, 8:53.